Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Guess who's back online? Yes, I do mean in a business sense, and it is myself. Oh boy, do I have a story for you on how inefficient some businesses can operate despite them being billion-dollar businesses. Oh my goodness gracious. Anyways, it was so funny. Just right after we finished Friday's stream, I just get a I wish I got a notification. I just noticed, whoa, I'm back online. My merchandise was found. Amazing. Um, I can obviously go into a lot more detail, probably not for a YouTube context, but yeah, that's hilarious how some, trillion-dollar companies can operate. Um, that's my little sense of it. Let's we get to bloviate for a little more, don't we? Righty. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know that I am live and you're seeing me well. And we'll get going there. And then we'll get going there. Let's see what our streaming is up to. I saw one of the streams went completely crazy in the greatest way possible. That's good. That's good. That's always good. And if you're new here, please engage in the chat. We're all really nice people. At least the names that I'm seeing today. Fantastic people. Love them all. Hold on. I'm really not zoomed in. Goes to show you how impromptu a lot of this is. And look, come on, isn't that shot so much better? Life update, little life update. I will be traveling this week again and next week, but as far as my streaming schedule, that should only impact Wednesday, maybe Fridays. I'm coming back Thursday late night, so let's see how that works. I'm attending a conference, e-commerce conference in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I'm actually heading out to the airport directly from the stream. So I'll be thinking of you guys for sure. And just in case, I'm either going to release this as a Sunday premiere, or I might use one of these as the Wednesday edition if I can't get to you guys live. I can't believe that I did this. I clipped out news articles. I have another minute to bloviate here. I clipped out news articles from this weekend's Wall Street Journal over here. And I just, I wanted to rip into these articles with you guys. And I will at some point. So, Kermushi, FLL, where am I staying? My parents, that's where I'm staying. So, yeah, I'm going there. I'm renting a car, and that's how. Can you believe to rent a car is like $30 a day? And happy early birthday, Kamershi. Yeah, to rent a car is like $30 a day. To get to the conference is $40 each way from my parents. So let's see how that goes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:04, but we'll start the headlines a little early. Talk about mood swings, right? Iran, Trump, and Vance? All so strange. I mean, is Hormuz open? Is Hormuz closed? Are they renting? I just read Jamal's comment. Are they open? Are they closed? Is the U.S. letting people through? Is Iran letting people through? What in the world is happening? I wish I can tell you. So as far as I know, the best indication I have is that the U.S. has a blockade, and then Iran is just causing trouble from within the strait. Now what? Tankers aren't being escorted, but there's still some sort of control that the U.S. is asserting over the strait. That's like, I don't know. As of 2 hours ago, Al Jazeera is reporting Iran says no talks with the U.S. for now, casting doubt over Pakistan efforts. That's while the U.S. is sending a delegation to Pakistan. A little comment on a perspective I heard on Smirkanish's Saturday program. I don't think the May 1st deadline of the War Powers Act has any bearing on Trump's judgment right now. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm relying on some of you in the audience here. I know that you're really well educated. Clinton didn't give a hoot, and I filtered out my words there, when he used military force in Kosovo and nothing happened to him. I mean, this is not exactly a Clinton presidency. This, whatever, this is the Clinton that was impeached for a blowjob, not impeached for Russian collusion or trying to overthrow the government on January 6th. So impeached, but for a different reason, not exactly violating the War Powers Act. And I just don't think it takes any place. I will say, thanks to Smirkanish, I didn't know Senator Murkowski was crafting this AUMF, authorized use of military force, to take place as far as our legal system is concerned, our government is concerned. So it seems like a middle of the road kind of thing, right? The authorized use of military force to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. I don't even think that should have been controversial to begin with. I mean, theoretically, there's nothing wrong with the AUMF to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons if they passed it 30 years ago, 47 years ago, 30 years ago. Yeah, because there should be authorized use of military force for that. I read a op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. Again, it's the only newspaper I actually touch because of the because of the American Express pricing. I do balance though, where it comments on the. Let me see if I can share my screen here. On how there was a vote that came up in the Senate last week with weapon sales regarding weapon sales to Israel, or I don't even know if it was weapons. I think it was just general equipment, and 40 Senate Democrats joined to block the resolution of arms sales, up from just 15 on a similar vote last April. Let me share an article that I'm looking at from Axios. Let's see if I can. Here we go. Let's shrink myself over here. Here we are. Axios is reporting. I mean, shocker, right? Bibi torched U.S. support for Israel for a generation. There are, and I may do a pre-recorded video on this because I don't want to bore you guys with it's a topic I feel really strongly about and passionate about, but the polling data right now is crazy. What's happening with Israel's favorability in the United States? I mean, historically, basically since the state's founding, there was such a close alliance, and not to mention when this whole thing started. But let me back up for a second. It's the very definition of American interest to not have a nuclear Iran. American interests will dissolve if Iran goes nuclear. It was Israel that, yes, sold the United States, but it was also Israel that enabled the United States to take action now, have the killings that they did of the Ayatollah, who screw him, and a whole, basically either half or a whole bunch of cabinet ministers to just wipe them out. And what, do you think Israel wiping out Hezbollah and Lebanon is not furthering American interests? That's a lot of what the dissidents against Israel are really saying. And look at the big picture as they're highlighting it here. Israel's favorability collapsed since 2022. Since 2022. 31 amongst older Democrats. These are Democrats that lived through the 67 war and probably even the War of Independence. 22% among younger Republicans. Now you're having a lot more of the Tucker and Candace Owens kind of Republicans. 14 percentage points among Protestants. Even white evangelical, which is at 80%, slid by 15 points. Huge. Huge. Yeah. All of that to say, that's where that alliance stands. And honestly, I think it's sad. The furthering of American interests is exemplified by the American-Israel relationship, but a lot of things aren't seen as clearly as I think they are. So there's that. Next up, I mean, do we think Michael is going to Michael Smerconish is gonna hit on that pre-written script of children killing, mass shooting kind of thing, or does he only say that for a school shooting? CBS News: 8 children killed in mass shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana, as father targets his family. Police say. Shreveport looks for answers about gunmen who killed 8 children. That's USA Today. Bill Cassidy, by the way, he has great legislation, not to muddy the water here. He has great legislation regarding business, but I'm not going to dilute the story with that. Let's go into the details so far as we know it now. Oh my goodness gracious. A man, 8 children, 7 of his own, killed 8 children, 7 of his own, and 1 of their cousins. Early Sunday in a mass shooting. I read that there was a mass shooting yesterday, right? But I didn't read. I mean, I'm like, I guess it was Sunday school. That's already the way we're programmed, right? So we think mass shooting. We think schools, because that's just, why the hell not? It happens. It's a part of our American fabric and identity. And it's not. It's not. A man killed 8 children, 7 of his own, and one of their cousins, early Sunday in a mass shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana. I hope I'm saying that right. The shooter is also dead after police pursued him and opened fire. All right, good riddance. The children killed range from 3 to 11, the coroner's office confirmed. My God. A relative told the AP that 2 women who were shot were the mothers of the man's children. She said he and his wife had been arguing about their separation while they were due in court on Monday. Wow. That's just so sad. Over 30% of our crimes and 30% of our murders in this city of Shreveport are domestic in relation. Now that number has gone up. Wow. So we say, guns out of schools, more common sense gun reform, psychological evaluations have to be in place. I mean, we really say that in regards to school shootings, but man, this is sad. This is just, I guess, domestic instability and stuff just going haywire. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a gun ownership issue. I don't think it's a gun ownership issue. I just think it's a sad story. I mean, what could have, like, something I'm thinking about. I'm totally open to to hearing other opinions on this. If, let's say, there were a law, I know I don't like the intervention of this, but a law saying this guy had a court date on Monday, right? He had a court date today. Imagine he said they said if you have an open domestic matter, I don't know, you can't have a gun because that's too much for me. I don't know. Come up with something, right? If you have an open domestic action, you can't have a gun. That doesn't make sense. It's too overarching. So anyway, interesting enough, this district, part of this district bleeds into Speaker Mike Johnson's district, and he referred to it as a heartbreaking tragedy, holding victims and their families and Shreveport community close in our thoughts and prayers. I mean, we know the song and dance and gun violence in this country a little too well. Gabby Giffords released a statement. Devastating act of domestic gun violence taking lives of 8 young children. My heart is breaking. All of us should be outraged. We live in a country that routinely subjects our kids to such unimaginable violence. Yeah. I don't know. Is there a common sense solution to that? I don't like what I was just spitballing there. I don't. I think that's too interventionist by the state. And this is an interesting article too. So to move from that to something a little better, at least, if you want to call it that. Axios, the Pope's English fuels a Trump feud. This is such an interesting headline. You know why? Because the Trump is America. The Pope is American, and he knows English, and he knows America, and he can go back and forth and engage in dialogue like a native. So this is an interesting headline. I want to see how this goes. Axios, escalating tensions between the Pope and Trump may hinge on something unusually simple. The Pope doesn't need a translator. The big picture, Leo's native level English removes a long-standing Vatican buffer ambiguity in translation that has historically softened or clarified papal critiques of U.S. leaders. That's a very valid point. Very valid point. Righty. Again, you have to apologize. I am not trying to be a homer here. I mean, I like it, but I'm not trying to be a homer. Mamdani and his tax the rich. I mean, he just released a commercial this weekend where Mamdani's proposed tax on second homes worth more than $5 million is coming into play. This was a bone thrown to him by the governor because, see, New York State is working towards passing the budget, which is really one of the, if not the only most substantive laws passed in New York State. Just has the broadest effect. People put in so much pork in there, and by pork I mean the political slang of pork, where things like gun regulations and subsidies for parks and stuff like that always make it into loaded stuff into the state budget. Hochul needed to satisfy Mamdani somehow to tax the rich, and taxing second homes for those who own them in New York State does a couple of things. First off, it doesn't raise primary property taxes on homeowners. That would just enrage everybody. I mean, talk about unpopular. The proposal caused havoc in political New York. But with all the people leaving New York, why doesn't New York go after those rich people who just have second homes here who are unoccupied? Number one, they now become the tax base again if they maintain a home here. And number two, it disincentivizes them from leaving. I'm not a fan of it, but it has its merits if you are a state looking to preserve people staying here. Kevin O'Leary, a mind I respect very much, said he never saw a better commercial to move to Miami Beach. I have to agree with him. He made his very simple point. If that house is being unoccupied, and that means that that house is not using the resources of the city, but that house is paying regular real estate taxes, why would you want to tax him more? Then he'll just sell the house and never come back to New York. And if he wants to come, he'll get a hotel room. Meanwhile, while he owns that house, he's paying the taxes, keeping the city men and women employed. But this is a really steep bet. Really steep bet. Some people are going to say that second home's worth more than $5 million. Hey, they deserve to be taxed anyway. Who cares? In Mamdani's words, I'm sure he'll say it's a rounding error. So, not quite sure about this. Not quite sure about this as a government policy here. All right, we're at 22. So I'm going to see if there are any other headlines I want to sink my teeth into before I head out to the airport, ladies and gentlemen. And then I can engage with some comments, and then I'm going to figure out what exactly I want to do for Wednesday's stream. So keep up to date on the channel for that. I am trying to get together more of a cadence in terms of my email newsletter and being in communication with you guys by email. It's just more direct, and all I need to do, I need to come up with a system to format everything as far as my video production, the shorts that are produced afterwards, and then and let's say the pre-recorded premieres that I have on Sunday and such. So there's that. Jamal, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Thank you for the well wishes, everybody. Let me just glaze over what we got here. Do I want to take the Starmer? I don't know about that. Oh yeah, I've been seeing more and more headlines about Starmer facing blowback on this guy Mandelson. He was supposedly vetted to be an ambassador to the United States, but that vetting went wrong somehow. He lied to the UK government, or he failed a vetting and somehow he still made it through some hurdles. But he was arrested. He was arrested now. Wow, on Monday, today, he was arrested on misconduct in public office, following revelations about his dealings with Jeffrey Epstein, the sex offender. So that's a story that's going on. I really didn't read into it a lot more than that. I've just been seeing his name pop up a little more and more and more. My favorite part, everybody. Comments. Let's see what in the world is going on in this world of comments. I love each and every one of your comments and your engagement. Thank you so much for that. Let's do this. Righty. Gemini. Some people using Gemini here. Kate and Kermusha using Gemini. You visualize. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Macaroni talking to Hamilton saying it's chilly here too. Had to store my plants in the garage last night. Maybe tonight too. Listen, we're not breaking 50 degrees here, and we broke 80 degrees last week. All right, and this is in Brooklyn, New York here. That's funny, Jamal. You're not into astrology, but you have some of the Pisces traits. Well, I think we just passed from myself. I'm an Aries. We just passed from an Aries into I don't know, the next thing. So I don't know what the hell an Aries is, but hey, I just know that I am one. Alrighty. Whoa, Antique X-Ray. Snowed yesterday? Really? Snowed? And it's supposed to be high 70s tomorrow. Welcome to Minnesota. Really? Alrighty. Let's go a little more on here. Let's see. Desert Sunset sent Kelly an article about a new treatment to heal. Very nice. Harvey, gotta run. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Have a great day, everybody. You're listening in the car, so I hope you're listening and enjoying. Have a great drive, Harvey. Hamilton and his wife are both Krebs, by the way. that's a funny comment there. Alrighty, let's see what else we got. Kate and Desert Sunset are looking at Blue Sky. Blue Sky. I can't believe people are still on that thing. That was such a fad, at least for me. For me, it was. Okay, everybody. All right, all of that seemed to be in the introductory part. Let me just scroll a little more. Nancy Lawrence, that may be well, Charles, but how do you fight the media and gas prices to get consent from the governed? You're going to hate what I'm about to say. They should control their media diet a lot better, shouldn't they? I mean, once they expose themselves to a wide variety of perspectives, surely that's I guess in response to Israel carrying out the United States' interest in the Middle East. That's how you simply inform yourself much better, because fact finds itself, a plurality of perspective find itself, people debating themselves find them, like panels and debates between different perspectives of people who can't stand this the idea of Israel existing, to people who believe that Israel is a satellite state of the United States. That's how ideas like this come about. And you learn people, you learn their ideologies, you learn their values and how they conduct themselves. I mean, that's how the media diet has to be maintained, and media hygiene has to take effect in American society at large. That's my long-winded answering your question. Victor Perkins, Charles, you're getting good at discussion and production, producer. I don't know about that. I always get pretty self-conscious about how I produce this thing and how I guess live, authentic, off the cuff this is. There are so many YouTubers out there, and I know I shouldn't be comparing myself, who are give so much better production value, so much better edits, transitions, music intros, things like that. I don't have the time for that. I'm, again, work first, at least as it stands right now. So that's my conundrum I find myself in. Going a little later into the comments here. Alrighty. Tammy replying to Kermushi, they call it mental illness and offer thoughts and prayers. Apparently there were mental health issues. There's no question there were mental health issues. I mean, anyone who kills seven of their own kids and one of their cousins, I mean, guys, that's mentally ill. We know that. Let's see what else we got. Jamal responding to Macaroni. I did see some USPS comments and stuff going back and forth. I have to go back to the comments and read it in a little more detail. Jamal is saying to Macaroni, just as there are with UPS and FedEx and shippers, and with shippers not following the rules. I think you guys are talking about delivering firearms. Could that be? Let's see. I'm not quite sure. I shouldn't have even said that if I wasn't sure. Let's see. Kermoshi, I loved Mamdani and President Obama. Bring on the joy. Listen, there's nothing wrong with them partaking in teaching children, whatever it is. I guess it's a photo op anyway. You slice it, but I just hope they're there for the right reasons, right? I mean, empower our young. Nobody's against our young here. Yeah, that's that. Empower our young, and I don't know what political end it might have served. Suen, and then we're going to close this out. Suen, in an interview a couple days ago, Mamdani claims to have lowered the budget from $12 billion to $5 billion in his first days. I am still a supporter. His, I guess, pied-a-terre tax was not a given. So here, he didn't lower the budget. He lowered the budget shortfall, and he lowered it from $12 billion to $12 billion to what he wanted to spend on. It was $12 billion of a shortfall when he got into office, but it wasn't it wasn't 12 billion of a shortfall when he got in based on the spending the city was doing. It was 12 billion based on the Communist Manifesto he wants to implement. And the new peer-to-tier tax system that he wants to implement will only make up, I believe, 1.5 billion. So he's taxing more, he's taxing more, he's taxing more. He's still at a shortfall, and spending is still going to have to go up. Like I said, a state that wants to keep their rich residents, that's the way to do it. It's a way to do it, but it just turns up the heat on whether they're going to sell and leave or not. Michigan and Florida, they are hiding money. They're hiding money anywhere, Florida or not Florida. Florida is just no state tax, and I guess a lot more freedom, especially if you're homestead in Florida. We all know that. Last but not least, Jamal responded to Macaroni Firearms requires signature must be delivered to a licensed firearms dealer. Funny enough, I ordered a gun online, and that's what happened. That's what had to happen. All right. We made it to 22. Victor Perkins, have a great day. Have a great day, everybody else. And I will let you know what's happening on Wednesday. I may have to pull back the live stream. We'll see then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with me. Sorry for uploading this a little late, but we're here on time. We're ending. We got an extra couple minutes of streaming in here. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. You'll never have another day like it. Have a great day, everybody.